Today's episode of the Horribly Off Topic podcast is brought to you by Milton Bradley, bringing joy to kids for forever. And I'm lying, they did not sponsor us. We don't have a sponsor still.
Yeah.
Fuck you all.
Does Milton Bradley still exist?
I don't know.
I feel like one of those companies, either Hasbro or Milton Bradley, was bought out by the other one, and that's why I'm asking. Like, I feel like Milton Bradley might exist as like a thing that Hasbro owns, but does Milton Bradley still exist?
I don't know.
Who was Milton Bradley?
There was a guy, a baseball player named Milton Bradley.
But I don't think he made like Monopoly or whatever.
No, because
maybe Monopoly was Hasbro to begin with. I don't know. Who's Milton Bradley? All right, who's Milton Bradley, the baseball player?
I forget who he plays for, but his name is Milton Bradley.
Yeah. Do you know there was a dude named Earl Clark who plays some sport, which is just weird to me.
Which sport?
I don't know. I'm still all up in arms about Milton Bradley. Okay, miltonbradley.com forwards to Hasbro Toys and Games for Kids.
So that means Hasbro bought Milton Bradley. So there's no way that Milton Bradley would sponsor our podcast
us, yeah.
because they no longer exist.
Yeah.
So there we go.
But
Go to that. Go to Milton Bradley, the baseball player, so you
Milton
can look
Bradley,
who it
the
is.
baseball player. Okay,
We
Milton
know
Bradley. We know. Yes, we know. Okay, I'm sorry. And then we have to figure out Earl Clark.
I'll look up Earl Clark.
We don't know anything today. I don't get. Milton Bradley, born April 15th, 1978.
Just in case you wanted to know when he was born, so you could send him a birthday.
He's a switch hitter, and he threw right. And his last Major League Baseball appearance was May 8th, 2011 for the Seattle Mariners.
Played for the Mariners, huh?
Before he debuted with the Expos. That's how long ago he played. I don't think the Expos still exist.
Yeah, they became the Washington Nationals.
Yeah. Nationals.
Earl Clark, baseball.
Earl Clark, yeah. I feel like there's an Earl Clark basketball player.
Oh, he was really... this was a long time ago.
Okay, well, let me see. Earl...
I'm looking at it. I'm going to read this one.
Why are we looking at his...
Look at his ball club card.
Look at his balls? I didn't know they showed that on... Earl Clark.
Outfielder in Major League Baseball who played from 1927 to 1943 for the Boston Braves, who are now the Hotlanta Braves. Listed at 5'10", 160 pounds. Clark batted and threw right-handed and was born in Washington, D.C.
Earl Clark, player with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
There's another Earl Clark.
Yeah, of the National Basketball Association. He is 26 years old and he plays forward. For the Cavs. Or no, what? You know what? No, now he plays for the Knicks. I'm sorry. Don't send us email about that.
Is this what happened when you Googled your name?
Well, no. I found out that there was an Earl Clark. I see Earl Clark being like talked about on Twitter. He played for the Lakers for a while, I guess, the Cavaliers. Now he plays for the Knickerbockers.
New York Knickerbockers?
Oh, you know what? No, he plays for the D League. He got demoted. That guy's shitty.
He's still probably making more than you or I.
He's definitely making more than I am. Why? What? How do we? Milton Bradley.
Yes.
Okay, Milton Bradley, which led us to Earl Clark. Okay.
I definitely have Googled my name.
Yeah.
Just to see if it comes up as if I'm the most famous.
If you're the most famous Steve Woodbury
I
there
am
is.
not the most famous Steve Woodbury at the moment, at least the last time I checked, which was actually probably about a year or more ago.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a graphic artist.
Okay.
Named Steve Woodbury somewhere out there, and I think there's a college professor, and I forget. Don't look it up.
That's what the episode is all about. We're looking shit up today.
Oh, okay.
Steve Woodbury, profile on LinkedIn, white pages.
I definitely have a profile on LinkedIn, so that might be me.
Faculty at the Department of Economics at MSU.
That is the college professor that I was speaking of.
Stephen A. Woodbury, senior economist. At upjohn.org. And let's see if
what's up, John?
I don't know. What is up, John? Sup, John? How many Johns? That's a problem with our podcast. There's so many Johns, and we don't necessarily want to identify everyone by last names.
But if we talk about your brother, John, then people will know.
Yeah.
Because unless he remarried or married somebody.
Remarried. There's things about my brother I don't know.
No, he never got married, as far as I know either. But if he ever got married to a man, I guess, then he might take their name.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, when you get married, you can change your name just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, he could change it right now because we're talking about him having gay marriage and he's not gay.
And he's not gay. Yeah. But I'm looking. I still can't find the most important Steve Woodbury, the one sitting across from me.
I don't have a Facebook anymore, so maybe that.
Right.
And but I do have the Twitter. So.
Well, the first Twitter that came up was Steve Woodbury CC, I think.
CC.
Yeah. No, sorry.
Closed captioning.
Then there's Woodbury 11, who's writing in some form of Russian, I think. Steve Woodbury CC was the first Twitter thing that came up.
God damn it! Stop it! Stop looking.
Stop.
I want to see how bad I am on the internet.
So by contrast, so that's why I came up with E. Christopher Clark in a guidance counselor's office.
So you would be known?
Yeah. No, I don't know.
But I don't want to have my middle name out there.
Right. Yeah. That's good strategy.
Just in case someone out there decides to steal my identity. You're pretty close to the top there.
For E. Christopher Clark, I am the top. But for Chris Clark, who the hell knows? I mean, the first Chris Clark that comes up is a Christopher Monroe. Chris Clark is an Australian historian working in England. And so even when I type in E. Christopher Clark into DuckDuckGo, which is my search engine of choice, I come up first, but then Chris Clark, the historian, comes up, and then Christopher Clark profiles on Facebook. There's a Christopher Clark professional photographer. There is a Christoph Clark who is a porn star.
Really? Was it you? Is that your alter ego?
No, it was not me.
Because you did have that fascination with that porn star that you talked about a number of episodes.
A number of episodes ago, yes.
Did you meet her?
I did not meet her.
Oh, no. I thought there was because she was at the strip club
She was
up
at
the
the
road.
strip club down up the street.
Sorry, we almost made it 2 episodes in a row where we didn't talk about a strip club.
Didn't talk about a strip club. I know. And there's a Christopher Clark who's a hockey player, I think. I don't know. There's Chris. It's the problem. I would think with Steve Woodbury that you'd be in good shape, but obviously not.
Stop looking it up and stop disappointing me. So put that away.
Stephanie, my wife, her maiden name is Woodsome, and she is one of only, as far as we can tell, 2 Stephanie Woodsomes in the entire world.
So her name's pretty similar to mine.
It is.
That's weird.
Well, and here's the thing. People should know, right? Like, if they go to clarkwoods.com, it's not that I don't want you to take credit for part of my amazing website.
I'm taking part of the credit. Don't fucking remove that veil.
But clarkwoods.com was founded in 2000, when Stephanie and I got married, and it was a combination of Clark, my last name, and Woods.
That's your entire last name and only part of her name.
Because I'm an asshole? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying you're just another misogynist asshole.
You found me out.
I did. Me and my feminist friends were going to get you.
Oh, no. I sense where this is going. We should talk about
something else
else before we...
No, but it's just, what I'm saying is that you should give...
it should be clarkwoodsome.com?
Yeah.
Well, I think that would make... There's a company... I was looking at the traffic for my website this week, and
you were disappointed that we're not getting more.
Well, I was disappointed in a lot of things, which we can talk about. But a lot of traffic was coming from Better Business Bureau type websites that were referring to a Clark Space Woods construction company or something, maybe down south, and these were Better Business Bureau type things, but they were all linking to my website. So it was like somebody was looking up information on this construction company, but they were ending up at my website, which has never belonged to this construction company at all.
But they were probably just doing their due diligence and making sure that it wasn't related,
but
reading some of your articles and maybe listening to our fucking podcast.
They were doing their due diligence, whoever was doing the research, but whoever wrote the website was not doing their due diligence. They just were like, this is all the information, this is their address, this is their phone number, and their website must be clarkwoods.com. And they did those people ever check? Since the dawn of time, since the dawn of the internet, clarkwoods.com has belonged to me.
What are you talking about? The dawn of the internet was way before 2000.
But there,
Al Gore invented it in the 70s.
But clarkwoods.com was not something that was registered by anybody prior to me registering it. That's what I'm saying. So these people have no excuse for having clarkwoods.com listed as the website for this construction company. I'm mad about it. Can you tell that I'm mad? I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Have you seen that movie in a while?
No, I've never seen that movie.
What?
I haven't seen that.
Do you have a Blu-ray player?
I do not.
Fuck. I only have it on Blu-ray. But Network is probably one of the better films ever.
Yes,
and
I know. There are so many of those classic films that we could do like a whole episode of the films that Chris hasn't seen. Like,
no, we can't, because then I'll be just like giving it all away.
It'd just be a whole episode of like, hey, Chris, have you seen this? Nope.
I'm going to write it down.
Nope.
Network.
This? Nope.
You haven't seen. All right, what else? What else? Which is an epic film that I can yell at you at.
For the longest time, I had not seen The Princess Bride.
Okay.
I have now,
so I cannot.
But it was a big thing in my family, because I decided, and some friends at the time, I decided I was going to be the guy who had never seen The Princess Bride.
I'm kind of with you on that, but not with that particular film. I am that guy that has never seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, I
You're
figured.
really not.
I think. I keep on coming back to the fact that it's a time and place kind of thing.
It is, yeah.
And if not having seen it when I was 15, 16, 17, whatever, when I'm a young, impressionable dude, and this is the perfect time for me to be like, oh, there's so much more crazy shit out there.
Right.
And now I'm totally aware that there's crazy shit, and I've probably seen way crazier shit at this point.
Yeah, no, I first saw Rocky Horror in the hallway of Bradford College, camping out to register for classes. I was telling my students about this yesterday. We had so few classes at Bradford, and there was no system of seniority as far as I can remember. So if you wanted a popular class that you needed to graduate, you had to camp out. And so That's sort of like, it's shitty, but it's sort of shitty in a fun way. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we basically, the whole hallway leading up to the registrar's office was people in sleeping bags, and then somebody brought their TV down, plugged it in, and we watched Rocky Horror in line. And so I was like, it was, I was.
Maybe if you'd watched it on the big screen, you might have.
Maybe. I mean, eventually they did a live performance. Well, they did at one of our halls on campus. They showed the movie, and they had people dressed up.
They do that, like, I don't know if they still do it in places. I know they used to do it in Boston, or maybe in Cambridge, actually. I think our mutual friend Kyle, I won't say his last name.
Yeah.
Just because we're avoiding doing that nowadays.
No, I mean, I had a fun, I was about to say my fun version of his name, which was always, I'd say it backwards.
Yeah.
But I won't say that
because then people will figure it out.
But it was a fun name to say backwards. I'm just saying.
Captain Derail. You are like just
I am horribly
what do you got? A Capsule Corporation shirt? What is that T-shirt you're wearing?
This is when I worked at Apple. I needed like some fleece. Well,
it looks like Long Johns a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I just was lazy, and this is a long sleeve, so I needed these. I went. They were long sleeve shirts that could go comfortably under my Apple shirt. And this was pretty much the same color as my Apple shirt. It's kind of a bright blue.
I like the little.
Yeah, it looks like it's a logo for something, but it was really just like a Long John kind of shirt.
It's like your brother's long or something.
Yeah.
Crap! I did Chip. God damn it! Like that character I just did is Jim Norton's character.
Oh, okay.
And I always I try not to do it because I'm like, I don't want to steal his bit, and I don't want people to think that that was sort of funny and stupid and terrible. But I'm stealing his bit. I'm and I want to address that. I don't want to be like, hey, I'm doing this, and so
yeah.
Just.
Putting
that out there. But yeah, I said Capsule Corporation, but that was in Dragon Ball.
Okay.
That was the company that one of the characters, Bulma, her father was the owner.
Of the owner of Capsule Corporation.
And so they had these little like capsules that you push a button and you throw it, and it just some sort of vehicle would appear. And so it was basically like Pokemon.
I was gonna say, yeah, because I was like, what was that episode where we talked about balls? And
It wasn't balls. They're like, I'll draw a picture of it.
it's
like
a capsule.
You can look like well, I kind of like a capsule, like a pill,
a pill,
but with a little
like,
button on top of it.
Gotcha. Like it's like don't they have those in Dr. Mario? Kind of look like that.
No, the pills without the button. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a pill with a button on top. So
Well,
for all the people who can't see.
Yeah, I know, but I was drawing it for you so you could help me explain it.
Okay. And I did such a wonderful job.
So what other movies have you not seen?
What other movies have I not seen? I don't think about them a lot because I haven't seen them. But they're
What other ones have people like got like mad at you for?
Gosh, it's always my students lately, and it's not even that they are talking about modern movies I haven't seen. They're talking about classic movies I haven't seen. I've never seen Citizen Kane.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but just because it's just never come up.
Yeah, and it's one of those.
And it's not something that I've really ever sucked it out. How do you seeked out?
Seeked out, yeah.
It just doesn't sound right.
Sucked out.
I haven't sucked it out yet.
Episode title.
I haven't sucked it out.
I haven't sucked it out yet. That's oh gosh, what other ones haven't I seen? I should go look at like your DVD shelf and see if
there. But no.
All right, no, I'm not going to get up. Wait, well, hold on. Let me see if there's.
Let me just talk to myself while you're looking at my DVDs.
People can still hear me.
Okay. Yeah, this is great radio. You staring at a shelf and going.
I have never seen Idiocracy.
Well, that's a good movie, but that's not surprising that you haven't seen it.
But I've heard a lot of people talk about Idiocracy, so it is a little surprising.
Could you get the fuck back over here? Stop looking at my DVDs.
Yeah. Anyway, but there are other ones that I have since seen. I hadn't seen The Big Lebowski for a very, very long time.
That's disappointing.
I know. Then I saw it, and now I understand why everyone was so disappointed that I hadn't seen it. So now
It's not one that like typically fails people as far like because it's a cult film.
Yeah.
I remember I actually saw it in the theaters. There used to be a second run theater up in Nashua.
Okay, yeah.
And that's where I saw it because it was only in the theaters for a week.
One
week. Wow. And so basically I was just like, what the fuck? Where's The Big Lebowski? And so I was just like looking for it.
Yeah.
Because I totally, like I'd seen the trailers for it and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally seeing that movie. I like the Coen brothers. They make good films.
Right.
This seems funny. It seems right up my alley. Huh? Yeah. Bowling reference. And so I was like, I'm totally going to see that. And then I was like, what? And it's funny, like at the beginning of the movie, like I missed the beginning. So I missed the part where like the dude, like the first time I watched it, but the dude is like walking, like spoiler alert for the beginning of the movie. He's walking, he goes to the store, he picks up some heavy cream.
Yeah.
And then he's walking into his house and then two guys tackle him and dunk his head in the toilet.
Right.
I missed that whole part. And then
so
I missed the part where the dude pees on his rug.
Right. This is a value drug.
Yeah.
Really tied the room together.
Yeah. So like where I walked in was when they were talking about it at the bowling alley.
Okay.
And then when Donnie's like, who peed on your rug, dude? Walter goes, Donnie, you're like a child that wanders into a movie. And that's when I entered that's where I entered the film, and I'm like, oh, amazing timing on my part.
That is awesome. And now it's been too long since I've seen it. I remember when I finally watched it. It was one of those that I watched a couple of times in rapid succession because I was like, holy shit, how have I not seen this until now?
I had a copy of it like I think a little bit before it came out, but it was on VHS, and it was like a promo copy.
Oh.
Like, because a friend of ours,
I was gonna say, how'd you get your hands on that?
well, a friend, Julian, I haven't seen him in years. I have no idea what this kid is up to. He worked at the video store in Acton, and so
He was able to get a copy of
yeah,
it.
he got the screener copy, and he gave me. I think he gave it to me. I don't know what happened to it. It's probably at my dad's house, like collecting dust, like so many other things that I have at my dad's house are doing. I'm bad with tenses and words today.
I'm bad with getting us off topic. I can't think of any other ones in terms of movies, but I know that it's kind of a fun game once people have found a couple that I haven't seen to be like, have you seen this one? And no,
What about Casablanca? You seen that?
No.
I have, but that was because of film. Like,
being
a comm major, we watched like movies like that. Actually, both of those films, The Big Lebowski and Casablanca, we watched in my screen and teleplay writing class.
First time I ever saw, speaking Coen Brothers,
Fargo.
First time I ever saw Fargo, it was the final exam for my class called Blood, Guts, and Ghouls, which was an awesome literature class about classic Gothic literature versus modern Gothic literature. So that was the first time I saw Fargo, which was awesome. But then I was like, wait, I have to write an essay about this? Like, I'm just sitting there, like, enjoying the movie. And I think the assumption was that we'd all seen Fargo by this point, but I had not. So it was like, I was trying to have the first viewing experience of just, like, enjoying it, but then all the while realizing, oh, shit, I got to write an essay about this in 2 hours. Because we watched it during the final exam period and then had to write the essay about it right after that.
In my screen and cell play writing class, we watched The Big Lebowski, and then we had a test on it. And the first question on the test, and I'll see if you get it right.
Oh shit! Okay, bring it on.
Because we were talking about objects of desire, and basically,
okay,
in The Big Lebowski, what is the object of desire in the film?
The object of desire. Oh.
What is driving the actions of the film?
Well, it's not really the rug, is it?
It is the rug.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say
it basically drives the story because, without that happening, the dude would never have gone to the Big Lebowski and asked for a new rug.
Right.
And then he, despite him saying, "Go get a job, sir," he takes one anyways.
Yeah.
Takes the rug, and then more actions happen because But that's all. It's very simple of what the dude like. Basically, he says it in the film.
Yeah. I just wanted my rug back.
Yeah, dude just wanted his rug back.
Yeah. It's such a good film. It's so. The other one that I hadn't seen for a really long time that I kept hearing tons of people talk about was Glengarry Glen Ross. Have you seen that?
I have. It's a really
that was another one that
Alec Baldwin speech at the beginning is great.
is fantastic, and of course it's not in the original play, which is just so hard to fathom. And it makes me wonder, in productions of the play since, have they inserted it? Because it just, like, if you've seen that movie and then you went to go see the play and you didn't see his speech, I think you'd be like, wait a minute. The play doesn't have the speech in it, and
and then you walk out.
Yeah, walk out.
No, it's probably still good.
Yeah. I'm sure. Well, the rest of it is good. Yeah. It's just that speech raises the stakes,
and it's pre-yelling Pacino in that too. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if it's pre-yelling, but definitely not like yelling all the time. Like Son of a Woman and Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, no, it's
he just all he does is wow, yeah.
Pacino is not a caricature of himself at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I got to say, one of my favorite Pacino performances is Angels in America.
I've never seen it.
It's a 2-part. They called it a mini series, but it's really just like a 2-3 hour long movies that they made out of this stage play, and he plays Roy Cohn, who was an asshole lawyer in Reagan's time. He does kind of some of the Reagans. I mean, some of the Pacino stuff.
Oh yeah.
But he's just so damn good in it. So it was a good flick. They had they pulled out all the stops with their casting too. Meryl Streep is in it for not a major role, but
Man, I could go for a major role right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. I'm gonna bring Lebowski back up because it's such a good movie, and I was talking about it this past Sunday, like after we recorded.
Yeah.
I was meeting a friend of mine. She lives way up in Bumfuck, New Hampshire.
Yeah. Not East Bumfuck.
No, North Bumfuck.
Bumfuck.
Very close to the Canadian border. Like, so close that when she's visiting, like, this is where her hometown is. She lives, around the Manchester area now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, when she's home, her cell phone keeps on going into, hey, you're roaming in Canada. And she's like, no, I'm not. And she has to keep on calling Verizon or whatever.
Right.
I forget. No, she doesn't have Verizon. Or maybe she does. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. She has a phone company. She has to keep on calling them up and saying, hey, from a different phone and saying, hey, yeah, I'm in the United States. Can you stop saying that I'm in fucking Canada and that I'm going to have, like, crazy charges on my bill?
Crazy.
Okay, so, yeah. Because she was coming from up there, and I was like, I haven't been to Fun Spot in a while.
Right, yes. And I remember after the show you were talking about maybe
going, and it turned out I did.
Nice.
So I was like, hey, you want to go to a Fun Spot or something? We'll get there and have lunch and have a couple drinks at the D.A. Long Tavern. And and the bartender there, who knows me by name, who follows me on Twitter now, and I think he's listening to the show. So if you are, thanks for awesome.
Oh, I got an interesting connection about the D.A. Long Tavern. But we'll talk about in a second.
Okay, cool. So we were chatting with him for a bit, and he and I started talking about The Big Lebowski, and there was a scene in it that he was talking about where, like, it's later in the film when Walter, I assumed, is yelling at Donnie because so like there was another part and then like Donnie asked the dude some question. Oh no, yeah, because the dude has the beeper. Yeah, and he's like, they gave dude a beeper, and so whenever they call me or whenever they beat me, I have to go. And then Walter's like, what if it's during league play? And then Donnie's like, what if what's during league play? Yeah. And then Walter goes, life does not stop and start at your convenience, you miserable piece of shit. So what he was saying was that he's not
the bartender at D.A.
the bartender at D.A. Long Tavern. Mm-hmm. At Fun Spot. We're plugging something else today.
Motherfuckers, they need to sponsor us too.
He said that if at some point in the future we wanted to go there and record the podcast up there, he would be glad to join us. And if we go there early enough, it's like perhaps before the bar is open. He follows me on Twitter now, so we could figure out logistics. We could go up there and do an on-location podcast from Fun Spot, and we could play arcades.
I dig it.
So yeah.
All right, so he was
saying that he wasn't talking to Donnie, and I'm still vehement that he's talking to Donnie, because it fits perfectly with what he just said,
right?
But there was some people that said he said that line because he was talking to, I forget which Coen wrote and which Coen directed.
Did you tweet something about this?
Well, he was tweeting me about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So so he was just saying that he was talking to whichever Coen brother was directing the film, and because he said cut or something like that during that take, and then Walter said that in reference to him,
right,
instead of what Donnie, and then
they just kept it in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it all comes down to if we look at the script,
right,
if it's in there. Yeah. I'm right.
And if not, then
there's a possibility he could be right.
Gotcha. So the D.A. Long thing, have you? This is. I promise this question will make sense. Do they have?
No.
Do they have gin at D.A. Long's?
I'm assuming so. I don't drink gin, so I don't know.
All right,
but I probably yes.
Okay. So the reason that I asked that is let me, by way of getting to an explanation.
Do I need to get some rum for this question?
No. Well, maybe. I will try to make this quick. So this week I launched a thing on my website called Drafts, which is that I post new fiction, because that's what I do. I write fiction, in case you didn't know out there, podcast listeners.
And sometimes he speaks truths on podcasts.
Sometimes. Not all the time. But so I started this thing called Drafts, where I publish a new piece of short fiction every day. And people, if they like it, can support it via Patreon. And tomorrow's piece of short fiction is one of the benefits you get for supporting me on Patreon, is that you get to see tomorrow's story today. The piece that's going to post tomorrow, Sunday, so yesterday when people are listening to this, is about it came out of an exercise I did in one of my classes about a chance meeting between two people with two very different agendas. And I had the students write the list on the board, and each of them had to give somebody with an agenda, something that they really wanted. They were at a crossroads. And so somebody said...
Did they take the road less traveled by, please?
They could take that. That was an option. But somebody said James Bond. I don't think they gave any reference. They were just like James Bond.
Well, what is this?
And James Bond maybe looking for a drink or whatever.
Or a lady to bang.
Yeah. And then somebody else said a kid at a video game arcade looking for a quarter. And so the students' exercise then was to take the two people, and there's a whole list of them. These are just the two that I picked: James Bond and a kid looking for a quarter at a video game arcade. And you were supposed.
Do you have to say video game arcade? Oh yeah, I guess you do, because that one-on-one talk booths was also billed as an arcade. So
yes.
Never mind, video game arcade it is.
Anyway, so an arcade. I was going to stop you. You got a kid in an arcade who's looking for a quarter, and you got James Bond. I picked those two because the assignment was pick two characters at two different crossroads and have them meet. And I decided, finally getting to the point, to have them meet at the tavern at Fun Spot. And the gag, and I realize now, I realized even then that of course probably any bar is going to have gin. But I made it a gag that Bond is at the bar at Fun Spot, and he is looking for a martini.
Well, martini doesn't have to be with gin.
Well, but a Bond like a traditional martini is made with gin, right? Otherwise it's a vodka martini.
Hold on,
I'm pretty sure that's the
continue,
deal.
And I'm looking it up.
So in this story, which I am now completely spoiled, it's so short that I'm spoiling the entire thing, and now there's no point for somebody to read it. Bond is there asking for a martini. The bartender and I never explicitly name the bar or that it's at Fun Spot, but careful viewers could sense that. He asks for a martini. The bartender there says, "Nope, don't have any gin." Bond gets upset. Kid walks over to him, says, the kid who's our narrator and recognizes that it's James Bond, says, "Hey, you got a quarter?" And Bond is like, "You already have a quarter." And the kid's like, "Well, yeah, but if I had two, I wouldn't have to make a choice." Basically, the kid's problem is he wants to play Donkey Kong and Ms. Pac-Man or whatever. It's not specifically said in the story. And then Bond lays down on him the bit of wisdom that life is choice.
That is just deep, man.
It's way better when you read it than when I explain it.
All right,
but at any rate, I just realized this was an opportunity for me to ask you if you've ever had gin at is it D.A. Long's?
It is D.A. Long.
Yeah, D.A. Long Tavern.
Yes,
right?
the
Yeah.
D.A. Long Tavern, I believe. If we're wrong, just fucking email us and tell us we're shitheads.
But yeah, so they without being named, made an appearance in the latest story.
Okay, so I think you are right in this, because I'm on Wikipedia, which is a very known, reliable source. But the martini is a cocktail made with gin and vermouth and garnished with an olive or a lemon twist. Over the years, the martini has become one of the best known mixed alcoholic beverages. H.L. Menkak, some dude, called the martini the only American invention as perfect as the sonnet. And E.B. White called it the elixir of quietude.
Mm-hmm. I at some point, for whatever reason, I looked up what was in a martini, prior to writing this thing, and I did. You can have a vodka martini, but it's
But you have to
called
specify.
a vodka martini.
But if you have a dirty martini, that is always made with vodka,
Oh, I did not know that.
unless you specify you would like gin.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Well, I might be wrong again. Hold on.
That.
It's just looking shit up and getting
very
proved
dirty.
wrong.
Well, I remember the scene in Iron Man where Pepper and Tony are on the rooftop and they're about to have an intimate moment and it gets interrupted and Tony says, "Would you like a drink?" And Pepper says, "I would love a martini, very, very dirty. No, very, very dry, with lots of olives." Something like that.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And Tony, when he orders his, asks for it and make one of them dirty. So what's dirty?
A vodka martini is sullied with olives and brine from the olive jar. Could also be served on the rocks or strained into a chilled glass.
Okay. All right.
So I am right in saying that is a vodka martini.
Yeah. Okay.
Phew.
Problem.
I was
solved.
almost not right about something.
Yeah. So I did launch. That's all I did this week was launch that Patreon thing.
All I did was play arcades, and I got another Fun Spot glass
You did. I
with
have
my
one.
tickets.
I have a Fun Spot
One.
glass. But it's not the like traditional Fun Spot glass. I got one with like zombie Mario and Luigi on it.
That was. I know where you got that because
Was that not at Fun Spot?
my old roommate used to. Well, still has, as far as I know, that glass.
Okay.
Because when I went to the Players Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Players Ring.
Yeah.
And I saw Dungeons and Dragons live on stage, which
Okay. So it's not from it. Okay.
our friend Sam was, I believe, or Sam Bennett was.
He was part of it at that time.
Yeah, I don't know if he still is.
He is not, no.
Okay, but at the time he was.
Yeah.
And this was before I knew him.
Right.
And yeah, so we went. Me and some folks went to that, and my old roommate won the raffle.
And he got the zombie.
He won the zombie Mario and Luigi glass.
But so that didn't come from us. That came from Jetpack Comics.
Yeah, whoever sponsored
that was their
show.
sponsor at the time. Okay, so that's where all of my Fun Spot stuff is saved. So I have extra tokens and tickets from the last time I was at
Who leaves
Fun
their token? Who like walks out of there with token? You go there and you play games, the ticket games, until you don't have tokens anymore, and then you get you get a glass or a shot glass or some candy or some other stuff.
Here's why. Every time I go with friends, absolutely do exactly what you just said.
But if you go with
a
the
couple
family,
of times I went with family we were in the White Mountains camping or whatever, and it was a rainy day, and we ended up at Fun Spot, and they're not game people. And the kids, think they're going to play a lot of games, but they don't. They like to ride on the really dumb rides,
like those little go-karts that are in the middle of that.
Yeah,
area.
or the like. The really old amusements that seem like they're mostly metal, and it seems like, do you really want to put your kid on this kind of quasi Ferris wheel that?
Oh, come on! It's like,
well, no, it's not
like us sitting down.
It's
high.
not that they're gonna fall. It's just that it looks like rusty
indoors.
I don't know.
It's not like it's sitting outside. They have this freaking.
So that's why I have Fun Spot.
They have the jungle gym over the, what is it called? Monkey Trunks. I think it's right next to the Fun Spot.
Anyway, so you played video games. I launched a site where people are supposed to give me money for my writing, and so far one person has given me $1.
Give Chris some more money. Go to his Patreon on the website, clarkwoods.com/give Chris money.
Now I have to make that. That is not an actual URL. Although what that will do is it'll take somebody to the 404 page not found page, and at the top it will say Patreon, and they can click on that.
Yeah, go there instead.
So go to clarkwoods.com/Chris fucks a goat, and you'll still get a Patreon link.
I can't wait for that URL. It'll just be a Photoshop. Like, Mike, if you're listening, find a picture of Chris.
Oh, God.
And make a Photoshop of him fucking a goat, and then send it to our email, hot@clarkwoods.com.
And then we'll have to put it on that page on the website. Great. I did a podcast, or I don't know. John,
You're
and I
having problems with tenses as well.
Well, it's been a while since John and I did one. John Martin and I did do a podcast called Generation Goat. I have never fucked a goat on Generation Goat, but I suppose.
But I guess,
everything.
Well, not on the podcast.
Not on the podcast.
But in general, you're not denying that you
I'm
have.
not opposed to fucking goats.
You know, I'm. You know, I have. Like I said, I've always had that libertarian streak in me. And, you know, if you are having fun and the goat's having fun, then good for the both of you.
Absolutely.
If you're like kind of moving the goat towards a cliff, so it'll push it. I don't know. Like, is it a male goat or a female goat?
Does it matter?
Yes.
Why does it matter if the goat is enjoying
it? Well, it matters from what I'm about to say.
It's a male goat.
Okay, so you're not pushing the male. Why are you fucking a male goat?
I don't know. Just to make the story that much funnier.
Okay, so yeah, so you're not pushing it towards a cliff, so it'll try backing up harder into your cock, backing its asshole up harder into your cock, so you can fuck it harder.
I was about to try and make that joke, and you made it for me. So yeah. I'm glad that I did not have to do the legwork there.
Thanks.
We did 40 or have done 40 episodes of Generation Goat, but it took us 5 years to do 40 episodes.
Well, we're at episode 15, so if we do this at a good tick, we will be at, you know, if we continue, because we have, you know, knock on. I don't have any wood. Oh. That's the laundry room.
That's the laundry room.
That's the wall. Knock on laundry room, as the old expression says. That we have not missed one yet, despite me being away for a week.
Yeah. What do you mean you weren't away for a week? You came back and you went to Dan's living room and we did it. We
we somehow managed to record this.
Don't shatter the illusion, man.
Do you think people are really that dumb?
No.
Especially our listeners.
I don't think they're dumb at all.
The best and brightest as that crazy right-wing idiot on that station that no longer exists used to say.
Yes. I don't know which crazy idiot and which station.
It was the Boston like right-wing crazy people talk station.
Aren't all the talk radio stations right-wing stations?
I think there's one, like the Al Franken one.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think
that's not NPR.
Oh, come on.
I love NPR. I can make fun of NPR.
Yeah. That's just like saying I'm Jewish. I can make fun of Jewish people.
They can't?
I don't know.
We'll
have to ask them.
I would think that Jewish people are allowed to make fun of Jewish people.
Can we make fun of white people?
Yes. White men.
Okay,
in
only men.
Yeah, white men. I was gonna say, not white people in general.
Just no, definitely just men.
Just men.
White heterosexual men. Fair game. Everyone else off limits. No. Sorry. That's just my opinion. Well, if you think about it, prior to now, I've done about 40 episodes of podcasts as well.
Okay, so we're even.
Oh, plus, I can add one, so I'm one up on you because I did an episode of Mike's podcast, the How to Get Chicks. So that's
gotcha.
41. Sorry.
That means that John Martin and I have to get together right now, as soon as this is over, and record another Generation Goat so that I can be up on you.
I mean, you have.
I do have a microphone. I do have.
Just don't accidentally post it as this.
This show. No.
And then
John is in charge of the Generation Goat site, so he posts that stuff, and so there's no chance of cross contamination.
Yeah, I did about 27 simulated itch relief. Mm-hmm. Which, it's still up there. I think there's 5 episodes up there if you want to go.
The last 5, right?
The last 5. Go down memory lane and listen to me do a podcast 5 years ago.
Yeah, I used to listen to them because you guys did a number in a row over like over like a summertime. You guys were pretty
I think
regular,
we started
right?
in January and we ended it around the summertime.
Okay, because
that's like half a year right there.
I remember being on a camping trip and having a couple of them built up and listening.
That's like me when I'm like I haven't jerked off in a couple of days and I've had a couple of them built up.
Yeah,
I just like let it fly, you know.
Yeah, paint the ceiling.
Paint the town, out of the town. That's why they call it that.
Because
you're shooting jizz.
Shooting jizz all over the damn place. What else we get to talk about?
You made a me earlier.
I did make a me earlier on your Wii U.
Yes.
You know, this one, because the Wii U can let you take a picture of yourself and start start from there. Which is
although it doesn't really do like
didn't-
that good of a job to
Yeah,
like
no,
it just
we did a
kind of
lot
gets
of
the shape
tweaking.
of your head right,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah. But you know, that's the third Mii that I've made. Because I made when my parents got one, I tried to bring my Mii on. It was like I was like, oh, I'm really excited. My parents got one, and we'd had our Wii for a year, and I tried to bring mine over there. But then when I tried to update mine on their Wii, it was like, no, this came from another Wii. You cannot update it. So it's just I should have just made one on theirs.
It's better now because this is like more online,
Right, yeah.
So like if you have a friend,
Yeah.
that you it's that I don't
It
have
would
too
just
many.
transfer.
It just transfers their Mii over to
Gotcha.
yours, and
Okay.
so
Yeah, I mean that's what I was hoping for. Anyway, with the original Wii, but now next generation,
next gen over here.
Yeah.
You can transfer Mii's in the blink of an instant.
because that's exactly, and that was like the number one feature request, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like we need more Mii functionality.
I did hear
You can hook up your fleshlight to your Nintendo system now, and fuck your friend Mii.
I almost fell for that for a second. I was like, can you really?
Yeah, there's
Now I gotta go get
there's a
fleshlight.
USB port.
I did. Of course, when the flashlight came in, I was.
I'm surprised that doesn't exist. Like
Yeah,
that was me.
That was you. Okay. I am surprised that doesn't exist. I know.
I'm
that
not
there
with
was
the Nintendo. I'm very
Not with
not
Nintendo.
surprised
Yeah.
that doesn't exist on
but
Nintendo.
for PS3 or 4.
not on a video game system, but like you can hook a USB up to your like.
They were coming up with that technology at some point where it was like a full body suit. And
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying like the pocket vagina or something like that.
Yeah.
That you can use, and then you have like a plug it into your USB,
Right,
and
you
then
go
you
to
have
a
like some sort of like
particular porno site
pornography.
that-
No,
yeah.
not even a site. Like it's just like auto interacts with you, and so
okay.
like if you're
Gotcha.
pressing it in, it's like, and it says like false things to you, like it's so big. And hard.
Has anyone ever said it's so big?
No, never to me.
No, well, not just that. I'm just wondering, like, has anybody ever said it's so big where that was true? Like, would they need?
I've heard
Is it ever just more than just stroking someone's ego?
I've definitely had the ow, but that was when I was doing the back end.
Okay. I've never gotten the ow, no matter where I put it.
I think I popped a hemorrhoid though. I think that was the issue.
God. God. Oh.
Hooah!
I don't even know where to go from there.
What do we got for time? Where
We're
we
at time. We're at 47:10.
Okay, so should we talk about the thing?
Yeah, the theoretical. Last week, I said in passing, and I hope that I didn't mean that we were never going to cover it, but I said we're not going to talk about Gamergate. And in that context, I didn't want to talk about it because I wanted to get on to something else. But I guess now we're going to talk about.
The thing is, I
Gamergate.
wanted to. I don't want to talk about it in any sort of way like I am feeling passionate about it.
Yeah.
I only want to talk about it because it keeps on coming up in my periphery.
Yeah.
And I'm annoyed by it. In general, I'm tired of it existing.
Right.
I want it to stop
Yeah.
on both sides, and so
Okay.
just like it, because but then I get sucked in and I read articles and whatnot, and
Yeah.
I'm just like and I just get annoyed. But there was one that I read that I agreed with probably more than 90%.
Okay.
And it was called 10 Short Rants About #Gamergate by Ken White, and I imagine you'll help me out. And
I will try to find it and put in the show notes for this episode, which are at clarkwoods.com/hot/15, the number 15.
Yeah. So so I read this one, and I'm like, I agree with a lot of this, and I'm a big free speech guy.
Yeah.
As you probably know.
And
by my sarcasm earlier about only white people, white heterosexual men can be made fun of. This is only one of the rants. I'm not going to read all 10 of them. This is number 4. They're all poignant, and I believe that they all make sense to a certain extent. Chris, you can come back at me next week and say, this guy's the biggest asshole in the world. I don't know why you agree with them, but we're not doing a podcast anymore.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that because I want to get to 40 episodes.
Yeah, at least, or 50, so we can
50,
so we can be like, yay, we did a year's worth of podcasts.
Yes. And then I'll quit. No.
Fuck you. It's okay. So this is me reading now. So basically it's called, this section is called Live by the Sword, Die by the Sword. If you encourage a culture trend involving calling out behavior, you may not like the way it is used by others. It seems obvious, but apparently not. So this, I might inject a couple of things that I'm saying here, but I'll try to stick to what he's saying.
Okay.
All right, I'm back to reading again. If you encourage the overuse of the term bully until it means nothing, you can expect the term to be co-opted and aimed at you sooner or later. If you cultivate a culture in which people react disproportionately to stupid or offensive jokes, sooner or later, someone else is going to be freaked out sincerely or cynically over something on your side, or someone on your side telling a stupid joke. If you cultivate a culture in which the internet lands on someone like a ton of bricks for being an asshole, sooner or later some segment of the internet is going to decide that you are the asshole and pile on you. If you cultivate a culture that likes to boycott media or its advertisers for content you don't like, sooner or later someone's going to boycott media over something you agree with. Like, so at some point, you're going to be like, oh, I love that horribly off-topic show. I wish they would produce more... Oh, wait, we don't have advertisers. Oh, they could never... Their boycott would be all for naught. Yeah. Because we'll still produce episodes and we'll still not have sponsors. That was me talking. There's me reading. Stretching words like bullying for political purposes, calling out people for stupid jokes, participating in gleeful pile-ons, and organizing boycotts are all classic free speech. They are more speech response to speech that you don't like, a good alternative to government censorship, and an example of social consequences for speech. And he's saying, I'm not telling you to stop. I'm not saying all speech we decide to condemn is morally equivalent. I'm not telling you that such techniques are morally wrong. He says he can't credibly because he's participated in all of them, and he's reminded that all speech has consequences, and all modes of speech have consequences. The consequence of gleefully piling on to some douchebag is that you normalize and model gleefully piling on someone you find offensive. The consequence of abandoning proportionality is that someday some segment of the internet may wig out and lose all proportionality about you or something you care about. Recognize cultural cause and effect. So you're going to say, but the people I was piling on, freaking out, boycotting are totally distinguishable from the people being victimized now by piling on, freaking out, and boycotting. And he goes, how nice for you. Explain that distinction to them and let me know how that works out. So people know what Gamergate is. If you don't, look it up and then get annoyed just like I did. So basically, idiots on the Gamergate side need to stop doing things to hurt people maliciously. They need to stop threatening rape. They need to stop threatening violence, etc., etc.
Yeah.
That's shitty. And then...
Agreed.
But, it's... and what another part of the article he suggests, and... because the whole crux of it is about integrity in gaming journalism.
That's the Gamergate, the hashtag Gamergate
argument. That's their argument.
Yeah.
So basically, what they're upset about is critics, having somebody in their pocket,
right,
or throwing money in their pocket to say good things about a game. Basically, what you need to do is either find a critic that you find agrees with the things you agree with. I mean, that's why there's sites like Metacritic and stuff like that. So, everybody's opinion.
You know,
is
in
there.
film, Rotten Tomatoes is the perfect.
Because
example.
it's like, there's always that one dickhead that
Yeah.
like doesn't like a movie, and there's always that one dickhead that likes a movie.
Right.
Like, So the example I use is the Red Letter Media guys.
Mm-hmm.
They do a little show called Half in the Bag. Mm-hmm. In addition to the very lengthy Star Wars reviews, etc., etc. And they usually watch a couple of movies, and they give their opinions on it.
Yeah.
And I think about 90% of the time, I'm on board with what they say.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm looking to see, should I see this movie? I will watch Half in the Bag and be like, it's the reason why I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Because they had something good to say about it.
Yeah, they were like, this isn't just your average popcorn comic book movie. It was actually fun and throughout, and there was good characters and good development and all that shit.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I agree with what these guys. I trust what these guys say because I have heard what they said before and I've agreed with it. Mm-hmm. So that's what you need to do. You need to seek out things. You need to not worry about what other people say about your media.
The first thing that I think of is and I loved this. It was a Facebook post. My friend Jen Henry is by the time this podcast is out, her production will be over. Producing a play up in Portsmouth called Dead Man's Cell Phone, originally produced in New York and whatnot. And when she linked to, I don't know if it's Jen or somebody in her production company, when they linked to the review of their play, which came out in the paper this past week and online, they said, if you're the kind of person who needs to read a review before you decide to go see something, here's the review. And I gather that it was a positive review based on the headline, but that's my feeling. Like, and I'm trying very hard to just not even fuck reviewers, fuck critics. Like, I don't care unless it's somebody like Red Letter, right? My friend Todd Hunter, if he went to go see Interstellar, and I got to go check out what Todd had to say about it, because generally speaking, I agree with Todd's opinions. Exactly what you're saying. I find somebody that I agree with, and I look at them, and then if not them, if they have no opinion on it, I go to Rotten Tomatoes or something like that.
And this comes back to the other side of it is, I can't tell people how to live their life. Mm-hmm. But the way I live my life is I seek out things that I like.
Right.
And I didn't used to do this. I used to actively listen. Like, remember I was talking about Right Wing Crazy People Talk Radio?
Yes.
I used to listen to that actively.
Right.
And I would just get mad I would yell at I would be more mad than I normally am when I'm driving around in the car. I'd actively listen to this and get fucking pissed off at people on the radio.
Yeah.
And it would happen when I was listening to Opie and Anthony as well. Like, Anthony would sometimes go on his right-wing rant, and I'd get mad, and I'm like, why am I still listening to this? I can listen to something else for a bit, and then come back later when they're talking about funny stuff again that I think is fun. So what I do now with my life is I seek out things that I like, and I avoid things that I dislike.
Right.
So I know there's just it's I'm trying to say this in the most diplomatic way possible.
Okay.
But it's just like there's video games out there that have shitty things in them that some people might not like.
Right.
And I would never like if someone handed me a game, I guess if it's your job to be a reviewer, then whatever. I get it that you're reviewing things that you may not like.
Right.
But if your job is to be a person that goes out and I don't know. I should have thought about what I was saying before I started saying it.
It's a very difficult thing. I understand where you're coming from, and I understand the desire to want to be diplomatic about it
because I don't want to say don't do this, don't look at these games, and don't be critical of them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to tell people again how to live their lives.
Yeah.
But if something is quote unquote not for you or was not meant for you,
right, then
you're not going to like it.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, people are getting mad that you don't like it, and I don't know.
Yeah, the whole nature of
I was sarcastic, surprisingly enough. I meant that is very, very understandable that a lot of people on the internet yelled about things.
Well,
because that's all people do on the internet.
That is
yell about things.
They yell about things.
We're doing it right now
because we're doing it right now, but our names are on the podcast, right?
Yes,
and
we're not anonymous.
That's the thing, is that you've got people who go beyond what they would say and beyond what they would do if you could see their faces or know who they were. And they want to be completely anonymous, and then they feel like they can say anything they want. I'm getting off topic here.
Horribly off topic. All right, so here I'm going to bring it back a little bit.
Okay.
Because I ostracized the Gamergaters. I want to get the other side a little bit, and this is something that came up before this whole thing happened, or maybe I don't know how long this thing has been going on, but it's been there for a bit, and I've noticed things on Twitter about it and whatnot. But back in July, I briefly talked about it on the show before, but and just now I talked about Opie and Anthony. Now is the Opie and Jim show.
Yeah. Because
Anthony was fired.
Right.
Now, let me get this 100% clear. I do not agree with what Anthony did.
Okay.
But I was angry about the fact that he was fired.
Right.
Because what he did, and the people that are against him and whatnot will say, well, we don't know if this is true because he's the only one saying it.
Yeah.
But what he said happened was that he was taking pictures in Times Square very late at night, very early in the morning, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right.
A black woman, came into the frame of his shot. He took a picture of her. She was mad at him that he took a picture of her, and she started beating him up.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you know, in context of the story, this is what he said. He was armed in this situation.
Okay.
He took his licks. He went home. He ranted about it on the internet.
Gotcha.
Using racial language.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing blatant.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, some people might disagree with me.
Yeah.
He didn't drop N-bombs. He didn't,
Yeah.
But he did. It was more subtle than that, but it was definitely racially charged.
Yeah.
It was a mistake on his part to do that, obviously.
Right.
Because if he hadn't, and then people were yelling at him, why didn't you fill out a police report? And he's like, why should I? I mean, I wasn't hurt. And then, people were like, why did he have to brag that he was armed? He wasn't bragging that he was armed. He was saying that he was armed. So this wasn't a George Zimmerman situation.
Right.
Where
he didn't pull the
trigger. He didn't pull out his gun. He basically was just like, okay, this is happening. I'm going to wait till it's not happening.
Right. And
I'm going to go home and lick my wounds and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So everybody from the left side, I don't want to say the left because I consider myself to the left.
Yeah.
But not apparently that far left.
Not that far left. Yeah.
And so everybody just leaped upon him in the way that I referred to in the article that I wrote or read earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Just basically pounced on him, got Sirius XM to let him go.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing okay now. He's got his own video podcast.
Yeah.
I'll promote it. Just it's the Anthony Cumia show. He doesn't need me to promote it. It would be neat if he promoted me.
Yeah. It would be.
Or us, sorry.
Yeah.
And then Opie and Jim are doing a really good show. I canceled because of the principle of it. I mean, I still like to listen. I still listen to the Opie and.
But the corporation did something that you don't agree with, and it's your prerogative to.
Yeah, and so I did, and I didn't make too much of a stink.
I mean, maybe in the same way, that ties back to what you're saying about if a game company is. If a game company is publishing games that you don't like, that you don't approve of, don't give them your money.
Yeah.
And if a review site is not publishing things that you find to be to have integrity, then don't visit that site. Don't give them clicks. Don't give them ad revenue.
Yeah.
Just stay away from that site.
And just in general, if there's something like in the Opie and Anthony thing, It's like a bunch of people that never listened to the show and never had much contact with it.
Right.
Demanding a person is fired
Yeah.
for something a ton of other people really enjoy.
Right.
And folks that are Howard Stern fans will be like, "We really didn't have that many listeners."
Yeah.
But
which is a non sequitur. It has nothing to do with the
yeah,
nothing to do with the argument. Yeah.
but yeah, so like it's just, but yeah, like don't take away something that. I mean, again, I don't agree with his politics. I don't agree with what he did. I do believe him for what he said.
Yeah.
I mean, the person that was the other person in this situation never came forward.
Right.
So the only the only person that's saying what is the truth is him.
Right.
Then I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. All this brings up to me, I had not Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet.
That's close though.
Back in October, that weekend that you were away, I was up in Maine celebrating, and maybe I've referred to this before, maybe not. I was up in Maine celebrating all the October birthdays, because there's a lot of October birthdays in my my in-laws' family. Mine, my wife.
You're not part of your in-laws. You are you.
What I'm saying is, I have a birthday in October. My wife's birthday is in October. Her twin sister's birthday is in October.
Well, that's surprising.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could have been Halloween and, at like close to midnight. Anyway, so we're up there, and my brother-in-law, Alex, he was very much on the hashtag Gamergate side of this, and I had been reading lots of perspectives from the women that are on the opposing side, the women who are getting threatened, and that's the part of it that I've been hearing all about.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some stuff that they've done. I thought it was great. Like what was it? Anita Sarkeesian.
Mm-hmm.
She went on to Stephen Colbert. I thought she did a really good job on the show. And Stephen, in his way, kind of just said how ludicrous it was to be saying what you're saying and doing what you're doing. And I think
said that about the Gamergate people.
Basically, well, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I bring this up because so that's one instance where Alex was going on and on and on and on and on and on about his opinions about it, about how it is in his opinion is about ethics in video game journalism, which is the joke now. Like that phrase has become just a sort of punchline.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for the conversation. Like I didn't.
And you're still not.
And I'm not. I'm still not. I really am not. I'm not prepared for the conversation. But it really gets me thinking about that. Plus, we just had the election here in the States. I don't know if we have any international listeners. But
we do. We do have the one Canadian listener,
so,
at least.
if
she's still listening.
We had the election here in the States. And, I have, if not right-wing relatives, center-leaning right-wing relatives. And I'm not prepared for the Thanksgiving or Christmas conversation.
I've definitely had those conversations at your house during the holidays.
I'm not prepared for it. Like, I literally just walk away. There have been times where that conversation...
That's why they're going to me? Because you're walking away?
I walk away because I don't...
I'm definitely further right than you.
I don't like to have the conversations. I don't like to argue, and it's
we're not arguing. Don't worry.
I know. I that's why I feel comfortable, having conversations. I just don't like to argue. I don't want to have these conversations. My dad was going on about how much he hated which I think the gubernatorial candidate who didn't win. Who won Massachusetts?
Baker.
Yeah. So the
candlestick maker.
The woman he was up against,
Coakley.
My dad was going on about, and then I think he remembered I live in New Hampshire, so he started going on a little bit about Shea Porter and Shaheen and why they were like. I was like,
because he's watching television and all he's seeing is political ads,
right? But I'm not prepared to have these conversations. Like the most political I've ever gotten publicly was a post I wrote 2 years ago, right before the election.
Take it easy, man.
And it was.
No one wants to hear that much political stuff from you.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years, they really don't. And it was a post about why I was voting for President Obama versus Mitt Romney, and it was all about.
Did you vote for Mitt Romney the first time when he was a governor?
I don't know if I was. Was I living in Massachusetts at that point?
You were at Bradford, I'd imagine. Oh wait, no, it was when I was in college. So it was.
I might.
It was early 2000s.
I don't think I ever voted for Romney. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't. But I could be wrong. Anyway, so that's the most political I ever got was this, and I'll link to it in the show notes. It was just about, I'm married to a woman. I have 2 daughters. I don't want abortion to be illegal. I don't want all of the things that were not necessarily going to happen if Romney got in, but were possibilities of happening when Romney got in. And that's basically all I said. And my dad, my uncle, the right winger people in the family, kind of just politely skirted around. My dad called me up and he said, "That was a good post you wrote." He probably went out and voted for Romney anyway.
Yeah.
But
surprised he actually read it.
He did. He wrote. I mean, he loves his granddaughters. He understands where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
It just things like. I don't want to call it Obamacare. I feel like everyone calls it.
Well, it
Obamacare.
Started with Romney.
Yeah. The Affordable Health Care Act. That's still what it's called, right?
I don't know.
Anyway,
it'll probably be over soon.
Yeah.
Like the thing that basically broke Obama's presidency.
What was the only thing he was able to accomplish?
Yeah. The thing is. I mean, this is we're talking politics.
It's getting way more political than
we're way over now. But basically, that was his biggest mistake, was pushing for that early.
What else would he have gotten done? That's the thing.
But the thing is, he could have gotten a lot done when he first was started because he had a Democratic Congress.
Yeah.
So basically, he could get little things done, things that the America at large would support. He should have done that.
Yeah.
He should have gone out and basically done a grassroots thing and figured out what are people most passionate about.
But
what
I
do
think
they need
the
most?
problem is that, and I heard a commentator on election night say this: people were going to the polls in a sour mood, and I just get the feeling, politically speaking, despite the fact that our economy is improving and better in every metric than when he took office, people hate the guy. A lot of people hate the guy. Even the people who support the guy kind of still hate the guy.
I don't hate him, but it's just like, I don't know.
You're disappointed. He didn't fulfill.
If he had done what I had said just now,
yeah,
he had gone and done
what
little
do
things.
People actually agree about? That's the thing. Like I certainly don't agree with the gun nuts like that. And I'm sorry, that's I'm being dismissive. I shouldn't think that. The gun people, I don't agree with them, and they really don't agree with me.
Well, I don't know. I to a certain extent agree with them,
and we certainly don't agree on healthcare. Like, where's the common ground? I guess is where I'm saying.
I agree with you on healthcare.
I don't know if I agree with me on healthcare.
Never mind then.
The thing is, I think that there should be. I like that there's this system in place for people to get. To get healthcare who don't have it, but the idea that there's a penalty for not getting healthcare is hurting my family directly because we can't afford the plans that the government offers.
The trick is,
and now my college finally, I shouldn't say this.
Then don't. Edit that part out.
My employer, adjunct professors don't traditionally get benefits. My employer is going above and beyond. To get so now, I guess based on the Affordable Health Care Act or something, my employer is required to give people who work above a certain number of hours some sort of health insurance, and they're actually going way far beyond that to give even those of us who don't work a lot of hours access to health care. So I applaud them I'm really happy that they're doing it. But then I go and I look at the part that I'm going to complain about has nothing to do with my employer. It has to do with the healthcare plan. They're going through Tufts. And I look at the price of these plans and I'm like, how can anybody afford this shit? Like it would cost us $700 a month in case we have a healthcare problem.
So
like I
basically, when Obama should have given up on this fight, was when the public option went away. Because without that, it's worthless.
Yeah.
Because like the part the insurance companies were fighting so much was that public option, because basically it was just like you could opt into a federally a socialist healthcare system. You could opt in at a low price to get that, and basically they were like, nope, can't have that. The insurance company, like, this is supposed to benefit the insurance companies.
Oh, everything.
Which is why it was actually passed.
Right.
But so once that public option went away, he should have just gave up and let's go move on to something else and see if we can revisit this back when America wants to talk about it.
Right.
Because at that time they didn't, and there was too many people that were not behind it.
Yeah.
They basically forced it through Congress, and then that's what caused the Tea Party to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, people who are listening can tell I am not politically active. I'm not prepared to have the conversations. They make me really uncomfortable.
Do you want to stop? We can stop the show.
We
just stop right here.
Just stop right here. No, it's fine. But anyway.
Okay, so bringing it back to Gamergate briefly. People on both sides, stop fighting. Just love each other as much as you can. And just avoid the people that you can't love. Yeah, that's all I can say. That's my solution in a tight little bow.
I like that. I think it's a little like Jesus there. Love the people that you can love and ignore. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like Jesus. That's the show title.